ANC says it won't be disbanding its Integrity Commission. There have been reports that some members want the commission disbanded, but Secretary General Ace Magashule says this won't happen. He was addressing the media earlier today to give an update on the recently concluded three-day Lekgotla. The ANC-NEC has also set a target to reduce unemployment by almost half in the next 5 years. For more on this, I'm joined by a political analyst from the Zubeira Institute for Research and Development, Xolani Dube. Good evening, Xolani. Thanks very much for your time. I'm going to start where Neil Coleman and I left off in our previous discussion a few minutes ago, where the Lekgotla apparently agreed to expand the mandate of the South African Reserve Bank beyond price stability to include growth and employment. Your thoughts?
Look, before we answer that question, I think it can be answered in isolation from what we are observing in the ANC. I think we have to accept now that we have to debunk sophistry when we deal with the ANC, and especially post 25 years of apartheid laws legislation. I think in the ANC, there is so much things that are happening there, to an extent that there is lots of flip-flopping, folk tongues, and we don't know as the citizens what are the policies of the ANC, especially when it comes to the issues of the Reserve Bank, when it comes to the issues of land. Today we hear government saying something, and then the political organization say totally different thing. And so I think we are in a whirlpool of confusion as the South African citizens.
What do you think is going on, or is responsible for this whirlpool?
I think we have to accept and embrace a very discomforting or uncomforting reality that it seems as if the black leadership within the ANC, they have failed to lead this country. Why I'm saying that? What your conversation with Mr. Coleman, as well as the reality that our economy is shrinking, and what is happening in KwaZulu-Natal when it comes to truck drivers and our education reality that we were confronted with, that number of so-called tertiary students, they can't even think critically. And so it shows really that South Africa, to a certain extent, has been pushed into a sinkhole by the ANC. And I think that even the cabinet that we have is a cabinet that can really rescue us.
I begin to know why you think that. Why do you think it's a... I mean, one would imagine that a meeting like that of the ANC-NEC, which is supposed to be as good as it gets, all the leading brains of the ANC are supposed to have been, or were supposed to have been, in that meeting. Now, if what came out of that meeting is what we are hearing from what this statement says, then, you know, it means, I mean, you don't think that these matters were arrived at by consensus, and we just have to accept that. You may disagree, but it's the reality.
Vuyo, now we have to understand that the ANC, most of the time, they always speak, I mean, they speak left and then they walk right. And these are the same guys. In 5,000 members of the ANC, they met for 5 full days. And they failed to understand or to comprehend what is the difference between the white monopoly capital. And there was a confusion. They even get lost when they were supposed to deal with the issue of land. And so even the ANC itself, an organization of less than 700 people, if you look at its management, is so embarrassing. And so how do we expect this, that these guys really, they can govern a country with state-owned enterprises that are so complex? And we have to be honest, Vuyo. The ANC, to a certain extent, have failed to live up to the expectation of the black population. I think the most honorable thing is for them to hand over or to rethink the electoral system so that they can give other black people an opportunity to lead. I think that will be the most patriotic gesture from the current ANC leadership.
Well, isn't that why we voted only a few weeks ago?
Look, we had no choice. You guys, I mean, you and I and other citizens, we had no choice. But see, trust me, Vuyo, if you look at the statistics, the number of people who did not vote, it shows that the number of people, they said, vote of no confidence to the whole system that keeps on keeping the ANC into power. And so for ANC, really to achieve its ultimate goal for a just society, they have to rethink the electoral system so that they can give other people who are capable what we call it an opportunity to lead. Today we heard from BMF such a very unpatriotic call saying the black people must not apply to the state-owned enterprises. What kind of a call is that from an organization that is advancing a black professional quest in terms of administrating the state-owned enterprises of our country? Is such an antithesis of what number of people in this country fought for. But after all, what can you say? We are leading by Ace Magashule, your Didi Mabuza, and the others. And so maybe such kind of calls from the BMF, they come out of frustration.
Okay, that's why we're going to leave it for tonight. Xolani Dube, an analyst from the Zubeira Institute of Research and Development. Lots